I have taped 3 colors together on the back, lined them up. You can pick any colors that you want. If you're going to do a darker color like this, we might go with a lighter color on top. So I want you to line your items up, and they can be kind of in a still life form, but you don't have to look at them and do them exactly. You can look at one and then go to the other. No one's there telling you that you can't. So, all right, let's start. I'm going to start with this page, and I'm going to do maybe that's it. That's all I'm going to do. And now maybe I'll change colors. Let's do the coffee mug, and let's do I've got that. And then I've got my sweet little bowl. And you just can vary the sizes, and it's got that little pattern in there. And let's see. I've got my olive oil bottle. And let's see, what else do I have? This is almost kind of like a blind contour drawing. It's and this kind of is going off the page, and then I've got and you're just going to continue on to the next page. And I've got my other coffee mug, and he's a little smaller. And then his bigger coffee mug kind of goes out like that. And then I've got my paintbrush holder. Let's switch up the colors. Let's do the red, and we'll do the oil bottle again. All right, so you're just going to go through and do this all the way through. Okay, so now you've got the whole page filled up, and we are going to see where this has formed another shape. I want you to go through and fill in these little shapes. And use different colors. Let's see, here's our pear. And in your shapes, you can do a pattern or you can fill it completely in. Let's see. Here's our label. So here is our brushes that were coming out of the bottle. Let's take the pattern or the shape that was formed, make that a color. And you're creating new compositions, new shapes, and new patterns. But we're going to be doing a painting with this lesson. So it really is important for you to actually do this lesson, because doing it yourself is so much different than watching me do it. You're going to get a feel for it, and your objects are going to be different. Your objects are going to have their own personality, and you're going to make them wonky and different than this, probably better than this. I'll do this last one with you, and then I'll finish up, and then I'll show you what I ended up with. but you take it as far as you want. I didn't do every single overlap, but I did most of them. I left that blank because I kind of like those two put together. And then, so you can see that what happens when you break these down is that you create a new composition. Maybe put those two together. What does it look like if we put those two together? Right? So go do that, and then I will see you back here. I say that every time. Where else would you see me? Okay. Now I just want you to put out some colors that you like. I've got acrylic paint here. I've got a wooden little panel. Oops, sorry. And you don't have to prime it or anything. Let's just go right on the wood and think about the shapes of our bottles. Shapes of our cups. And put the inside of your cup in. And then let's put in let's mix a little. Let's do around our edges. Just want you to fill the page basically with colors that you like. We're just abstracting the shapes that we just drew. And don't be precious with this. Just fill it in. don't have any green. Let's put some green in. And let's form, that's the outside of the bottle. Like that. And then in the cup we had some little patterns. Okay, so fill your page up with your colors. Maybe he had a little bit of a pattern on him. You just don't want any of the board showing. Okay. This is the creamer. And turn your board around and do different shapes this way too. And there's a bottle. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. Now, let's let your board, let's let this dry, and then one more spot. Okay, let's let this dry and we'll continue on. Okay, so now this is dry and I want you to look at your compositions and how you made your elements, your little wonky bowls and cups, and you're going to don't look at your objects anymore, you're going to paint from the objects you've already made, and we're going to place them around our painting. Put out some more white paint if you have run out. I ran out. And then grab some colored pencils. Need to sharpen that one. Grab some colored pencils and we're going to draw into it with our colored pencils. Now this is white paint, but I've got just a smidge of pink in it. So you're just going to, you're going to have to kind of work fast. You're just going to place some white down. And I have, let's see. So I have my creamer up here at the top that I'm going to go by. And just hold your pencil lightly because you're just getting the essence of your cup, or your feeling, or your personality of the cup. And then I have and you can also take the back of the brush if you wanted and do the same thing. And it's going to kind of pick up the colors from underneath. And they'll kind of start bleeding through. See how that's, and kind of smush that around like that. So that's our first one. Now the next, I'm just going to do, this was my bottle. I'm going to bring the bottle, I think, all the way down. It had a label. And see, as you scratch through, it's got the colors underneath. Okay, now I'm going to put just a little bit of orange in here. And this is my tiny little, let's see what color. This was my honey. And then let's do a bigger object. And see, I've touched it with a little bit of blue. Now this was my, no, that's charcoal. That is not going to work. Let's do this color. I could tell that kind of felt different. Let's see if we scrape through. So you have to work fast because see, that's already almost dry. Alright, next object. Let's do the coffee mug. That. We'll kind of put the pattern that was on the mug like that. All right, it's looking good. Now let's try just a touch of the light blue and you see that is going to be about the same size, so let's scratch that thought. See, you can just paint over it. And let's make our little other coffee cup here, and let's put our pear there. That's better. Let's go a little further to the top. Let's do the olive oil. It was tall and skinny, and the olive oil was about to right there. Do kind of a purple color. And this was our vase. Kind of wonky, but it's kind of fat at that side. Okay, now let's let this dry just a little bit, and then we'll come back to it. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did with our paper project. We're just going to fill in some of our overlapping shapes. And if you want to add color somewhere else, can. These are kind of just design choices, and if you want to use these are the pencils, and when I put the varnish on top, it is probably going to smudge in places with this, but that's okay. Let's add some dark in areas. Just to give some variation of colors. You could use your paint for this part too. So if this is our tabletop, this is another design choice that you will have to make. Do you want to add pattern? I don't think I'm going to add any pattern just because this is so small, and I've got pattern here and throughout here. So I think I'm gonna leave it be. I think the only other thing I see is maybe I'll make my pear more green. What if we made this a little more pink just to define it a little bit more? And then go in right there with a little darker pink. Okay. All right, so that's a cute little still life. And we will do this on a larger sheet of paper next time. Okay, I like it. I think that will be fun. Explore this, explore how you can lay this out. You could even actually put it on a table. Just have fun with it. Little abstract objects of your favorite things.